So hey guys, how's it going on? Welcome back to a brand new episode, and today in this episode we are going to cover selection sort algorithm. So as you all know, in the previous one we have covered the bubble sort algorithm, which uses multiple passes to sort the entire array in ascending order, right? Today we are going to follow something similar, but today we are going to do the complete opposite. What did we do in the bubble sorting algorithm? In the bubble sorting algorithm, we took the largest element to the rightmost position, right? But in today's example, this for this array 80713, we will make multiple passes. Within each pass, the minimum, I mean the least element, will come to the leftmost part, or you can say to the starting. The least one will be to the starting. The complete opposite in terms of direction. So that's how different bubble sort and selection sort algorithm are. So let's just get started with the explanation of how this algorithm works. So first of all, we are going to consider this example in today's explanation, which is 80713. Now let's just get started. First of all, let us say that we have an array which is simply R80713. This is the array, right? First of all, what are we going to do? I will define a pointer. Let's say this is the pointer which is to the left of 8 right now. So now first we are going to consider 8 as the minimum element. Let's say 8 is our minimum element first of all. Now what are we going to do? We are going to compare 8 and 0. Now we know that 0 is the minimum element. Now this 0 is our minimum element. So now we have made 0 as our minimum element. Okay, I'm going to erase this 0 and just get this one here. Now 0 is our minimum element. Now we are going to compare 0 with 7, 1 and 3. Yes, with all three of them. And after comparing with all three of them, 0 is the minimum element again. So now we are going to simply swap this 8 with 0. So this is the array we come up with, right? Now in the next step, once this pass is completed, what are we going to do? We are going to change the position of our pointer. Now this is the pointer. The pointer comes here. Now what does this indicate? Now this indicates, from this we can say that the complete array to the left of this pointer will automatically become sorted, and the one which is to the right, towards the right direction of this pointer, is the unsorted array which we need to sort within after one pass and another, like that. Okay, now let's just get ahead with this explanation. Now what do we do after 0 and 8 is swapped? Now we go for the next pass as our pointer has increased, as the pointer has moved towards the right. Now again we are going to compare the next element which is to the pointer. Now this is the pointer, the next element to this pointer is R8, right? Now we are going to compare 8 with 7. We are going to compare 8 with 7, and simply we can say that 7 is our minimum element, right? So now what we do is compare this 7 with 1 and 3. Simply 1 is the minimum element, or you can understand it this way. First we will compare 7 and 1. We see that 1 is the minimum element, so we take this out. Just give me a second. So we just take this thing out. Okay, just ignore that. Just give me a second. So we are going to compare 7 with 1 and 3. We simply have 1 as our minimum element. So what are we going to do? 1 will become our minimum element. Now again we will compare 1 with 3, and again 1 is the minimum element. So this time we are going to swap 1 with 8. So we get this array. Okay, we get this array. This array is what we are going to get. Isn't that great? Now again we are going to change our pointer's position. The pointer will be here now, and you can see the entire array to the left of this pointer is already sorted. Now we will select 7 and then compare it with 8. 7 is the minimum element, so it's like this. Now we will compare the 7 with 3. Now 3 is the smaller element, or you can say the minimum element. So we are going to swap this 7 with 3. So then we get this. And now the pointer moves here, right? Now what happens is, let's say we have this 8, right? We are going to compare 8 and 7. 7 is the minimum element, so we swap them again. So, and we are left with this array. And now take a closer look, guys. This is a sorted array. That's how we are using selection sort algorithm. And now, without further ado, to make it more clearer to you, to make it more simple, let's just code this in Python, right? So let's just go to onecompiler.com/python, and this is our Python file where we are going to work with a selection sort function. So let's just define a simple function. Let's just say define s sort, which takes in a parameter known as array, through which we'll pass in an array to be sorted. And now let's just take in the length of our array, so, and store it in a variable called n. Then now what are we going to do is we are going to run a loop, a for loop. Let's just say for I in range till the second last element, or you can say till the till the second last element. Why? Let me just explain that to you. Now if we see here, we have something to compare with 1, which is 3. We have something to compare with 8, which is 7, right? Now what do we have to compare with 8? Simply nothing. So that's why we do it till n minus 1, so that we take our I to the till the second last element. The same thing we did in bubble sort algorithm as well. I hope you remember that, right? Now what are we going to do next is, let's just take our minimum as I. Now this minimum will act as a pointer for us, alright? Now we have taken the minimum. Now we are going to call another loop, which will be the comparison one. Let's just say we are going to take j. So let's just say for j in range. Now take a look here. What should be the range? Now if I say we have to take the range from the next element till the last element, right? Till the last element. Now we have to compare this element with all the other elements, right? So what are we going to do for this, to achieve this? So we are just simply going to say ri plus 1, I plus 1 till n, which will take us to the last element, till the last element, alright? Now what are we going to do is, we are simply going to put a comparison, which we will do using an if condition. So let's just say if array's jth element is less than array's minimum element. Now what are we going to do? We are just simply say that this minimum element is becoming j. Now we have got a new minimum, so that's why we are setting this j as our minimum. Now simply speaking, this minimum is our index, okay? And then next, now what are we going to do? Now we have achieved a new minimum, right? So after this for loop is completed, we have achieved the minimum, which is the minimum. Now we got our new minimum. Let's say if we consider this example, you can see here that for the first case we have 0 as our minimum, right? So now after the for loop, second for loop is completed here, which is this, we have our minimum to be j, which is 1 here, 1 in this case. And for this case we have 1 as our minimum, so j will be updated to this index. That's how this for loop works. So what are we going to do now? So now we have achieved our minimum, so simply we will swap our element with the minimum one. So let's just say temp is equals to array's ith element, and then we will say array's ith element is equals to array's minimum element, and then this array's minimum element becomes our temp. So we are done with the swapping, and then we will simply return our array as we always do. Okay, now we just need to simply call this function. Let's just say print S sort. Okay, my bad, spelling mistake. And fine. Now within this we'll pass in an array as a parameter. Let's just pass in our own example, which is 80713. Let's just pass in that 80713. Good. Now let's just run it, and you can see the entirely sorted array is here. If we take another example, let's just say 5 10 7 3 1 and then 9. If I run this, you can see an entirely sorted array. So guys, this is how selection sort algorithm works. We take a pointer, compare the element next to the pointer with all the other elements, and swap it with the lowest element. That's how selection sort algorithm works. I hope you understand how this algorithm works and you're good with it now. And if you have any queries regarding this algorithm or any doubts, just feel free to make a comment down below and I'll surely respond to it if possible. Thank you so much for watching.